G'day there, Pete Moriarty here, and in this video we're going to be covering everything you need to know about Google Filestream and what's happening with Google Drive. Now, you may have seen some concerning messages popping up on your computer that Google Drive is going away, and even the media have reported it as just like Google Drive is disappearing. Well, I'm here to help dispel the rumors and clear up exactly what changes are happening with Google with their new product launch of Google Filestream. Now, this is a replacement for Google Drive, and it is aimed at business users of G Suite who are currently using Google Drive. And don't worry, there's no major changes happening, but you will have to take some action and install something new on your computer. So listen up while I cover off all of the important details. Now, when Google Drive first came out, it was a web-only product, and that meant that it was purely 100% online. It was originally Google Docs, and then Google Drive kind of morphed and evolved into allowing you to place other files online. Now, eventually Google effectively copied Dropbox and decided to create a synchronization product that you could install on your local computer. And what that meant was that you could put your standard files in there, and they may be a Photoshop file, it might be a Word or Excel document, or a video or an audio, or whatever that file happened to be, and it would synchronize to the cloud and then be available on all of your different computers. Well, that's all well and great, although businesses over time evolved and started putting more and more data into Google Drive. And we know from the over 1,000 customers that we've worked with that there is a lot of data in some people's Google Drives. Now, how do we manage all that data, and how do we make sure it all works efficiently? Well, from up until now, it was still all being synchronized down to each person's machine. And so for companies that had a lot of data, and we're talking about 10 gigabytes, 100 gigabytes, or even a terabyte of data in their business Google Drive, well, that meant that a lot of that data was being pushed down to the local desktop level onto people's computers. Now, there's some workarounds and some band-aids, like using something like Selective Sync, which pushes only certain folders down to your computer, but you still had to be pretty clever and pretty tricky with managing different folders and choosing to synchronize some and not synchronize others. Now, that works great if you've got a very small business and you're in complete control of your IT. But as you grow to a larger and larger team, it's harder to manage those kind of things on a granular basis, and well, it just doesn't really work out. Now, thankfully, Google have released Google Filestream, which is the replacement for not Google Drive as a whole, but just the Google Drive that you install on your computer, and it's got some pretty darn nifty features. First up, with the new Google Filestream, you're able to access not only everything that's in your My Drive, but also any of the files that are sitting in Team Drives. Now, if you haven't already started using Team Drives, I highly recommend you take a look. You do need to be on G Suite Business, not the basic version, so that means you'll be paying around $10 a month rather than $5 per user. But what that means is that you get access to better levels of restrictions and permissions for your team-based folders. Definitely want to check that out. What this does in Google Filestream is brings those Team Drives right down to the desktop and allows you to access them there. Secondly, and this is the big one, Filestream lets you see the whole of your Google Drive without having to synchronize all of that cloud stuff down to your computer. It means that you've got like a virtual window into all of your business data, but you only download the files as you actually open them. So as you go to access a file, it's in the background automatically going to download that file and instantly open it up for you. Now, not to worry, you don't have to be connected to the internet 24/7. If there are files that you need access to, you can select to have certain files or folders available offline. So those ones are always automatically kept in sync and kept locally on your machine. So if you need to access them offline, you're always going to have access without having to connect back up to the internet. What that also means is that you have better access to Photoshop files, Word or Excel files, anything that's working on your computer with a local app. Double-clicking on that file is going to instantly open in the native app instead of having to download it from Google's web interface and open it manually, and then when you finish working with it, save it back in there as well. It's truly the perfect solution to having a lot of data online and a lot of data in your business, but not wanting to clog up every one of your computers by pushing down all of that data to everyone's machine. So what happens to Google Drive? Well, the Google Drive app that you know isn't really disappearing, but it's getting a rebrand and a reboot. It's now being called Google Backup and Sync. Now, it works in exactly the same way. So if you still want to download your whole Google Drive folder to your computer or synchronize just a couple of folders, well, you can still use Backup and Sync to do it in the same way that you've been doing it currently. You will need to re-download the Backup and Sync, and this is Google's way of forcing everyone to make a decision. Should I use the more business-focused Filestream or the more consumer-focused Backup and Sync? Now, a couple of great extra features that Backup and Sync does have is the ability to scan your computer for photos and automatically up them to your Google Photos archive. Now, personally, I would use a personal account for that instead of your business account, but definitely a good option there. If you wanted to run both concurrently, you would sign into your personal account on Backup and Sync and your business account with Google Filestream. The other great feature that Backup and Sync has is now the ability to back up additional folders on your computer. So you might want to back up your desktop folder, or you might want to back up your documents folder in your My Documents if you're on a Windows machine. What that gives you the ability to do is have peace of mind that stuff that's floating around your computer is going to be backed up to Google, even if you're not diligent enough to save it into your My Drive. Now, how do we switch if you've got an existing Google Drive set up over to Filestream? Well, it's just as simple as going to the Google website, downloading the Google Filestream app, and we'll place a link to that one right below so you know where you're going, and sign in with your business account, and voila, you've got all of your files and information there. Now, one of the first things you might want to do is make sure that you select any files and folders that you'd like to have available offline and choose Offline Sync. That means that even if you're not connected to the internet, you're going to have access to those important files. Once you're done with that, you might want to uninstall the old Google Drive app so it's not bothering you anymore with any warnings, because it is going to stop working soon. Now, if you're an active member of our concierge service, well, you're already going to have access to our team's help and assistance with you rolling out Filestream for your company. If you need personalized support or hand-holding with the rollout and the communication to your team, we've got all the resources to be able to help you. Not only that, but you have access to Genius Academy, which covers training videos on Filestream, Google Drive, and the rest of the Google ecosystem. That means that you and your team can stay productive with everything in the Google world. Of course, you also get unlimited concierge access to our support team for anything you need for your IT support needs. So if you're not already a member, head along to itgenius.com, click on the membership tab, and you'll be able to join there.